It's day 30, and we're going to look at the very important book of Romans in the Bible. We're going to see this letter from Paul that is written to the Christians in Rome. He says at the beginning, "This letter is from Paul, a slave of Christ Jesus, chosen by God to be an apostle and sent out to preach his good news." Now go back, remember, he was Saul. You've already read through his conversion story. This is his most theologically intense letter. He says, "One of the things I always pray is for the opportunity, God willing, to come at last to see you so that I can bring you some spiritual gift." Now that's confusing because you just read Acts, right? But remember that the New Testament, the Bible, isn't written in chronological order. So actually, Paul wrote the letter to the church in Rome before he was ever there in Rome, getting ready to stand before Caesar. He says this in verse 17, "This good news of Jesus tells us how God makes us right in his sight. This is accomplished from start to finish by faith." Now, this is an important concept, theological concept of justification by faith. And it's really, in essence, the very first thing we learn in our foundation series. The way that we start a relationship with God is simply by trusting Jesus. It is not by trying to be a better person. It's not by trying to follow the law, even though it's not bad to follow the law. It's good to follow the law, but we can't do it on our own. And Paul is going to make this message so crystal clear throughout this important book of Romans. You're going to see that all the way throughout Romans chapter 1, all the way through to the end. But first, at the bottom of chapter 1, you're going to see Paul talking about sin. And I wanted to point out to you that this section is really showing us that all of us, every single one of us, from the beginning of time, from the beginning, with Adam and Eve, we all are born into sin. And so keep that in mind as you read this. He's not picking on any one person in particular. He's saying this is something that every single human being deals with, and this is why the gospel is so important. So read chapter 1, and we'll see you tomorrow as we read some more from the important letter to the Romans.